Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the July 17th, no, wait, that's on the, July 8th, reading the wrong pack, I'm sorry. Yeah, July 8th Finance meeting. At this point in time, I will yield the floor to Chairman Keller, Finance Chairman.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Hope everyone's having a good night tonight. Item 1 on our agenda is consideration of a resolution to extend the lease agreement with the City Corporation for water and sewer systems and for other purposes, sponsored by City Corp. Move that we forward item 1 to the full council with a recommendation of approval. Is there any discussion on item 1?
Oh, I just
Mr.
wanted to
Mallett.
mention that
Sorry, I didn't
I
see
will-
you walk up.
if you have any questions, tonight would be the night because I'm going to have foot surgery next Tuesday, so I will be out for the next couple of weeks. And so I just wanted to be here just in case anybody had any thoughts, questions, or anything they wanted to discuss. So I'm just here for anything like that.
Has anything changed from the previous agreement?
It's just better than it used to be. That's all, just a year better than we were. That's all.
All right, 10-4. That's
No,
what I figured.
no, there's really nothing changed. It's pretty slow compared to the previous years when we had rate studies and bonds and all that's kind of winding down now, so.
Okay. Are there any other questions from Mr. Mallon?
No.
Is there any other discussion on item 1? Thank you, sir. Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 1 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Item 1 is forwarded. Item 2 is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to execute an agreement with Terracon Incorporated for professional brownfield services, which include writing and submitting a grant application on behalf of the city of Russellville. This is sponsored by Ms. Sarah Johndall. I move we forward item 2 to the full council with a recommendation of approval.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion on item 2? Ms. Johndall, do you have anything you want to say?
Good evening. So Dr. John Sutherland reached out to myself about conducting some brownfield surveys and met with the mayor and the judge and have partnered with Terracon, who are offering their services free of charge to help submit and apply for a grant. This is a grant that will survey and potentially clean up properties that are determined to be brownfield properties to make them, to be able to put them back into production within the community. This is just a grant application at this point, and they are offering their services free of charge.
Well, that's great.
Yes, sir.
That's great. I like free services for stuff like this. Are there any questions for Ms. Johndall? So is there, I actually have one. I'm sorry. You walked away and then I was like, I got a question.
You're fine.
So I know that they're going to be writing a grant and submitting the grant on behalf of the city. Is this something that our grant writer is going to work with them on? Is there like something special to these types of grants that like our staff grant writer wouldn't be able to do these?
There are some professional services that we are not capable of handling. I will actually be the one working with Terracon on this application. And it's actually partnering with the city, with the county, and with Main Street Russellville. So it's a partnership between the 3 organizations that Terracon is submitting an application for. And they'll submit that for the 2025 round, and if unsuccessful, resubmit it for the 2026 round, again, free of charge to the city of Russellville. And we have driven around and identified a total of 61 properties, both within the city and within the county, that may qualify as brownfield sites. And so we're gonna see if there's anything we can do to help obtain funding and clean these up.
Great, thank you. I'll try not to ask another question while you're halfway down.
I'll wait.
Okay. Are there any other, is there any other discussion on item 2? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item to the full council with recommendation of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Item 2 is forwarded to the full council with the recommendation of approval. Thank you, Sarah. Item 3 is consideration of a donation of 3 2012 Chevy Caprice police vehicles to another law enforcement agent, or to another law enforcement agency. There's no resolution or anything to forward at this point in time. I guess it's just discussion, so I would move for discussion on item 3.
Second.
Okay.
If that gets a second.
Can you tell us anything about this, sir?
Basically, I believe, Chief, you want to come up and kind of fill them in a little bit? He was behind Terry. You can't see him.
No, we have 3 2012 Chevy Caprice police vehicles that seem like we've been trying to get rid of them for 20 years. And, you know, they're unserviceable. We actually have 4, but the other one's scrapped out the range. It's missing a motor, a transmission. We've used it to keep the other 3 running. They were being used as our elementary SRO cars, but now we've been able to put SUVs in those locations. And with them being unserviceable, we did put it out through our Chiefs Association for any law enforcement agency that was interested in buying them. But the more we thought about it and what condition they're in, I wouldn't feel like a decent human being if I sold it to anybody. And we didn't get any bites either. We had a couple of interests from Central City PD and Cutter Morningstar School District Police Department. They're impoverished, and it's hard for them to have any capital to buy police cars. So I talked to Mayor Teague about could we just go ahead and just donate them? That way it takes care of our problem and it helps somebody else that's in need. So that's why I was wanting a resolution to make that transfer.
Do you have another group in mind already, or are you just going to put it out there?
Well, those are the 2 PDs that have showed interest that we've been talking to about donating them to.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Chief Ewan?
Chief, what were those other agencies again? I'm sorry.
Central City Police Department
Okay.
and Cutter Morningstar School District Police
Okay.
Department.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, thank you.
Is there anything we need to do to
So,
make
yeah,
that
so,
decision?
okay. 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 So, move item 3 be forwarded to the full council with a recommendation of approval.
Second.
Is there any more discussion on item 3? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 3 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Item 3 is forwarded. Item 4 is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to enter an agreement to purchase, or to fund the amount of $456,930.60 to construct ADA bathrooms and slate features at the Russellville Skate Park.
Be skate features. There was a typo there, skate features. So,
Okay, and skate features. So that does away with one of my questions as to what is a slate feature. A matching grant in the amount of $239,850 from the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism will reimburse the city in that amount. Move we forward item 4 to the full council with a recommendation of approval.
Second.
Is there any discussion on item 4?
What's the time frame? Do we know a time frame about when that's gonna?
Basically, this is 2 projects in one. One of them is the bathrooms, one of them is the skate park. There's 2 different companies doing, one company's doing one company's doing the other. And we have bid both of those out already. So as soon as the appropriation, which will come on next Thursday, as soon as that's approved, both of them will get notice to proceed. And I know the skate park, they've told us they can't start till October, Bathrooms should be able to start as soon as we give them notice to proceed.
I think bathroom will start pretty quickly.
Yeah,
This is in addition to the skate, like, this is an add-on to the skate park?
Yes.
Or it's not in a
Yes.
different location?
no, it's add-on to the skate park.
This is this is two handicap accessible bathrooms that will be at the park, which will service not only the skate park, but pedestrians on Main Street and going towards Kroger. But also it's for features, skate features for younger or more novice skaters. The skate park that we built years ago was built more for skaters than someone to
Very
fall in love with the
advanced,
sport. Yeah,
yeah.
so,
Yeah, I'm looking at it here, it looks pretty.
yeah.
Yeah. This one will be pretty flat, the one they're building here, pretty flat. It'll have some ridges and some high spots, but the other one is just so advanced, the younger kids just really can't skate on it.
Are you gonna hang around for agenda prep so we can get updates on some other projects?
Okay?
Was the 456, 930, is that just for the bathrooms or is that for both?
That's for both.
That's for both?
Yes.
Awesome. And is the 239, 850 grant, is that for both the projects? Okay, so. Are there any,
It's a 50/50 grant, and we're coming up with 50 out of the 1 cent sales tax.
So
And
we're coming up with.
239, yes,
And then the
Right.
other 239.
yes.
is there any other discussion on item 4? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 4 to the full council, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, that's with the recommendation of approval. Yeah. All those opposed, please say no. Item 4 is forwarded. Thank you, sir. Oh, wait, no, this next
I
one's
got
for
the
you
next one,
too, yeah. I got it. Item 5 is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to enter in an agreement for the purchase for, to provide funding for, in the amount of $122,489.50 to purchase a new pavilion for Washburn Park. I move we forward item 5 to the full council with a recommendation of approval.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion on item 5? Terry, take it away.
This is a project that will come out of our 1 cent sales tax. The appropriation will come next Thursday. This is probably our second most rented pavilion besides the city. And it's our oldest pavilion. It's a leftover from the Corps of Engineers. I've been here nearly 28 years, and it was here way before I was here. It's a low-hanging wooden structure. We're going back in with a similar pavilion that we did all over town, except this one will have some rock features on the bottom of it, benches and tables and stuff like that. It'll look a little fancier than the rest of them. It'll kind of match the area that it's in if they're under those pine trees.
Is there any further discussion on item 5? Okay, all those in favor of forwarding item 5 to the full council with a recommendation of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Item 5 is forwarded. Item 6 is consideration of a reimbursement request for the second quarter expenses for the Alliance for Economic Development contract in the amount of $40,647.34. Move we forward item 6 to the full council with the recommendation of approval.
Second.
Any discussion on item 6? Hearing none, all those in favor of forwarding item 6 to the full council with the recommendation of approval, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Item 6 is forwarded. And then item 7 is consideration of a resolution approving a release agreement and authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to enter a release agreement with Phoenix Innovations Incorporated and for any and all future claims arising from the installment sale contract for the purchase of real property. Are there any, I think we're just going to open this up to discussion right now.
Move for discussion.
Okay, been moved and seconded for discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, so we're in discussion. So, Mr. Harrison, is there anything you'd like to come and talk with us about on item 7?
Good evening. The only thing we had is we sent in a revised release for, in response to resolution that was on the 17th. We actually didn't get a copy of this until the 25th. Because it was produced on the 11th. You guys met and approved as is on the 17th, but we never had it until the 25th of June to review. And so when we got it to review, you guys had already approved it as is. And so we just had a few small changes that we wanted made because the release really covers the cellar repair Schedule A list, not the entire contract as a whole. And so we didn't want it to be construed that we were releasing the city from the actual sale of the building, just the repairs, that we wouldn't come back for any other additional repairs on the building. And so we sent in our revised redlined copy on July the 3rd in response to when we got it on June 25th. But we never had a chance to review that release prior to it coming to the council on the 17th.
Would it be beneficial for us to pass this?
We can't pass anything tonight. We can forward it.
Oh,
or we
yeah.
can-
Sorry, I was thinking ahead to next week.
What other revisions are there besides the one?
It's just revisions to the language. It was just a little overly broad. It could have been construed as us releasing the city from the actual sales contract of the Dalton King building, and we didn't want it to come back in 15 years for y'all to say, sorry, this release covers the sale. Instead, all we wanted to do was make it more direct regarding the Schedule A repairs list, and that we would not come and ask for any additional repairs on the building with regard to the original cellar repairs list.
And have y'all sent the red lines over back to
Yes,
us?
sent them over on July the 3rd.
So,
And that's what we're looking at in the packet, are the red lines?
You have the one from, that Trey did, and I sent the one that, Nate's attorney sent.
And she is on her way, if you wanted to ask our attorney any questions about the red lines.
Okay, so I am not an attorney. I think I say that a lot while I'm in here, but I'm not an attorney. But I do recognize that something that you said is that you wanted to change some of the language to make it a little bit more clear as to what it is actually happening. As a non-attorney, though, when I read the foregoing shall not act as a release or termination of the parties' respective obligations under the contract, which will otherwise remain in full force and effect. To me, that seems like we're having a release agreement that has a stipulation that it doesn't actually release the parties from those obligations.
Now, it could read that way, but really when you look at it, you have to break the contract, which is the original sales contract of the Dalton King building, and we're going to release from any other cellar repairs. The cellar repairs list was Exhibit A, and there were 6 things in the cellar repair list. And so we're agreeing that we will not come back after any of those. They've all been completed, and we'll release the city from the fence obligation and everything else that was on the cellar repairs list, Schedule A of the contract. But we don't want it to be construed as that we're releasing the city from the sales contract itself. And the contract would be referring to the sales contract, but quite clearly in the other language in the release, we are releasing the city from anything on the cellar repairs list, Schedule A.
I mean, that seems pretty clear in this, every mention of the red lines that has anything to do with the agreement is just clarifying Schedule A.
Which I believe was the intent of the release when we discussed it in here several times, was that I would not come back, or that Phoenix Innovations would not come back and ask for anything that was not on the seller repairs list, Schedule A. And now we're going to release the city, once the parking lot is resurfaced and repaired, it will release the city from any further obligations from Schedule A.
So we've got some language that the city's attorney has put together for this contract. We've got some language that you and your attorneys have put together for this contract. And there seems to be some disagreement between the two attorney parties as to how that language should be written. Is it possible that between now and next Thursday's Finance Committee meeting, that the two sides, attorneys, could get together and find language that both sets of attorneys are going to say, this is exactly what this is, and this is exactly, we all agree as to what it is? You know, because where I'm uncomfortable, again, not being an attorney, is when I have someone who is telling me, this is what this says.
Sure, I'd be happy to let Mr. Smith and Ms. Caldwell discuss that. I don't know if they can come in agreement by next Thursday. I would assume we can. I don't feel like we've materially changed anything in the contract. We have just solidified language.
Mr. Smith, are you amenable to meeting with Mr. Harrison's attorney?
I can.
Or speaking?
I believe the lease that was, or excuse me, the release that was passed, the original was sufficient. And it clearly, that paragraph just basically does away with any releasing language. I anticipated that they would do this, and so I submitted this to a couple other attorneys with more experience than me, and they've agreed to my original, and they both said that if you sign this, this is not a release, what they've submitted, because of this little paragraph that Mr. Keller did. So I don't think we're going to solve anything here tonight, and I've anticipated that this move would happen. And so, like I said, I've talked to somebody with 30 years experience or more and 54 years experience, and they've agreed with my release and not with this one. So I don't know what you can do. You can either do what you want or whatnot, but you'd be going against probably 100 years of trial experience in doing so.
So is that, you said that you would be willing to meet with their lawyer and try to find something that would...
You're going to have to take out that second part that I showed you. That's gone. If you agree to that, you basically have done away with the release. You know, if we want to narrow the first part where it says Schedule A, acceptable, but I tried to do more coverage of that there would not be anything within the contract or any schedule that could be used against down the road. And when you narrow it to Schedule A, there could be something in the contract that they could come back to us and say, well, we didn't release this, so you still owe us more money for something. And that's, you know, that's tried to look out for the best interest of the city, not the best interest of Phoenix Innovation. That's what their attorney's doing.
Understand.
Could there be some language added in there that specifically states that the release does not apply to the sale of the building specifically, and
Sure,
but it would have to be specific to the sale of the building? I'm just asking you, sir.
I mean, why would we want to walk away from him paying us the money? I don't see why we would construe it. That construction seems to be so far-fetched, and to walk away, of course we'd want his money. He's paying for the building for the next so many years. We would never construe it that it doesn't apply to the sale. We would be hurting ourselves.
I mean, I completely get his side of it. I mean, he pays a note on a building, then, yeah, I mean, we could kick him out and say the contract's null and void and take our building back.
But there's nothing in the language that says that. This is something that's been,
The original statement went against the whole contract and not against it, just Appendix A or whatever, Addendum A.
like I said, I drafted it. I've had it reviewed by two different people, attorneys. I don't know what more more you could want. If you, anything less is not protecting to the best interest of the city.
Well, I think where we are is that the language as written by the city's attorney is not acceptable to Phoenix Innovation, and the language written by Phoenix Innovation and their attorney is not acceptable by the city's attorney. So again, I come back to, let's see if we can work both parties together to find language that both sides will find to be sufficient, that says that once we take care of the parking lot, then we've met all our obligations under the seller obligations, and that you guys feel like it's not going to inadvertently cancel the contract or anything like that.
To be
And
clear,
so-
we're not trying to open any loopholes or leave any
No, no,
loopholes
no, I'm
open
not-
in the contract. We just want the sales contract to stay in full force and effect. We are going to release the city from any and all repairs that were listed in Schedule A, because there's nothing else that we can foresee in the sales contract at this point. And so there's nothing foreseeable in the sales contract. And what I'm hearing Mr. Smith say is that he would like to try and handle it so that anything that's not foreseeable that does come up, you're still released from it.
Releasing any future claims from the agreement and the schedules, which are part of the agreement. And that's what this release does.
Sure, and Ms. Caldwell has been able to join us during this time. I'm going to let her, and she's written down on the sheet as to speak, so if that's okay.
That's fine. I mean, like I said, there's been a couple of people who reviewed it, and she's got her opinion, and I've got mine. And like I said, we can go back and forth between now and 9 days from now.
And yeah, that's what I'm happy to do. And thank y'all. I apologize for being
Sorry,
late.
can you state your name for the record, please?
Elizabeth Caldwell. I'm the attorney for Phoenix, and I apologize for being late. This was our first time seeing this, so Nate asked me to take a review of it. I made revisions. I mean, I think we're all on the same page as far as what we're trying to do. So, you know, I'm just trying to make sure that it's all clear. So I'm more than happy to, I'm not married to this language is what I'm saying. I'm more than happy to work with y'all on it.
I'm just, I'm a little concerned about the foregoing shall not act as a release or termination.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Sometimes I don't speak up. The one provision that just sticks out to me is the foregoing shall not act as a release or termination of the parties' respective obligations, which jumping ahead, which shall otherwise remain in full force and effect. I'm hopeful that this can be reconciled, but that language probably needs some work.
Okay, so something like the remaining obligations or apart from Schedule 1. So,
Possibly.
yeah.
If,
Trey said he took this to two of their attorneys for review, and it essentially negates it as a release altogether.
I mean, I'm, like I said, I'm not married to it, so.
Well, great. I think that, so we've got both sides saying that we can find some common ground, and they're willing to work to find common ground to get everybody what they're looking for this. And I thank all parties involved. At this point, I move to table item 7 to next Thursday's finance meeting.
Can I ask real quick, so tabling it, would the idea be that we reach an agreement between now and then and represent it?
That would be awesome.
Okay.
I mean, just tabling it, we're not going to remove it from the agenda, and I don't think we're going to move it forward, so we're just going to table it, so our next meeting is next Thursday. If we've
Perfect.
not gotten, if we've not found that meeting of the minds between now and next Thursday, we can table it again. I think something can be tabled 3 times before action has to be taken, is that correct?
You table it forever, but it can't go on beyond the next available date.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, to be honest, if this is the only sentence that's concerning, I see no problem
Well,
with
that-
getting that worked out.
I was speaking for myself. I hope that you and Mr. Smith will sit down and hash out any other possible discrepancies. But that was the paragraph that I was
Okay.
worried about.
Okay, there's a motion to table on the floor.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of tabling item 7 until next Thursday's finance meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Item 7 is tabled. Mayor, that is the last
y'all.
item on our agenda. I yield the floor back to you.
All right, we will adjourn this finance meeting and go into a full agenda prep. Can we, oh, you got to go get something? Everybody good to move straight in without a restroom break? Okay, so, okay. Okay, they're asking to close C Street out there, but why would you not want the whole sugar? Are you ready? All right, we'll go ahead and call this agenda prep to order. Hey, Terry, if you would approach and give us a real quick update. Mr. Olson had asked you to stay, so I want to go ahead and put you up front there and try to get that, get an update. Really kind of give us an idea of what's going on out at pickleball and how close we're getting and anything out there.
Yeah, I just wanted everybody to hear, because I've been asked 1,000 times about the pickleball courts. Can you give us a projected opening, how it's going, yada, yada?
Pickleball is close. They were putting up the fences today and doing some touch-up painting and working on the electric all today. All the light posts have been put up. We're waiting for them to hook the lights up. We were projecting that we were going to open on July 22nd. I'm not 100% sure on that yet until I talk to them again, but I'm hoping in 2 weeks they will have it complete. They're supposed to lay sod sometime this week around the perimeter and clean up around the perimeter and hook up the lights, and they probably should finish the fencing up tomorrow. They only had like 2 little pieces of fence plus the gates to put up, so it's really close.
Awesome. I think the public is ready, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of people ready, yes.
That's right. So, thank you. I just
It's
wanted to
looking
get that.
good.
Thank you, Terry, for hanging around. Mr. Duval, do you got anything going on?
I don't have a lot that I'm gonna talk about, but, I was gonna let y'all know that, Second Street and Waterloo project, the utilities are still being moved. They should be done hopefully in the couple weeks. They told us the middle of July, so we'll see. I know they've got, Entergy's got all their stuff moved. We're kind of waiting on the communication people then. And as soon as they're done, then the project will begin. And I'm not sure, I may have said this last month, but the 7th Street emergency road that we built going north and south along the railroad track, it's complete. So if you hadn't been out there, you can go look. It turned out nice. And, you know, overlay, 2 of the bigger ones we're working on this year. One is Sequoia Way. I'm sure y'all have seen it's partly done. The next one will be South Phoenix from Main to 12th Street. We're doing these all obviously before school starts, and they will be striped fairly quickly as it's down. So it shouldn't, 2 to 3 days, it should have some stripes, weather permitting. So just to let y'all know that if y'all get any questions. That's all I have.
All right, thank you so much. Anybody else got anything? Does anybody, Mr. Gray is not here with his random number generator. Does anybody have a random number generator, or are we just going to pick 3 numbers for your prayer? Yeah. But 1 and 30.
1 and 39.
1 and 39.
1 and 39.
What's your number, Keller?
13.
13. What's your Keller? What's you, Bradley? 7. And Ms. Wetzel, what's your number? 8? Or what'd you say? 8. Yep. Okay. 7 and 8 and 13. Okay. All right. Cool. Awesome. So we've got that. Moving on, we'll have an end of the year presentation by the Russellville Youth Council, which we're excited about that. Going on to the second thing, this normally would be this is a situation that will go between, go to Planning Commission, but I wanted to get this before the council to kind of get your temperature first. I do want to, I wish Chief Sloan had been here, because prior to Mr. Van Horn reaching out to me, Mr. Sloan had indicated to me, we were having a conversation that that was a pretty dangerous street, that he had seen several issues there on C Street there with a lot of people crossing, and he had indicated his concern there. And then probably 3 weeks later, Mr. Van Horn reached out to me and asked for a meeting, and he and Mr. Gunner, and both Mr. Van Horns and Mr. Gunner came to my office, and they asked if we would consider closing West C Street between North El Paso and Greenwich, and I told them, I said, I'd be happy to bring this before the council and let you guys talk about that. I believe you have a letter from Mr. Dalton Van Horn concerning their request. Both Mr. Van Horns and Mr. Gunner are here to answer any questions that you guys have got. Like I said, I kind of wanted to get the council's temperature before we went through the process of going through Planning Commission. So, gentlemen, if anyone wants to come up to the podium, if you do come up, just please state your name for those at home. And then that way the council can ask any and all questions if you have any concerns. So I think that's where, did I explain that well enough? And then you should have a letter in your packet concerning the number of crossings and different things that happen on a regular basis at Sugar Creek. So.
Thank you for your time. My name is Scott Van Horn, one of the owners of Sugar Creek Foods International here in Russellville. You all have received a letter. We have had this discussion many times over the years with different mayors. Mayor Teague was willing to entertain it for us. We appreciate that. The times are getting a little more trying for us there with the traffic that comes through there as we continue to try to grow our business. I don't know if y'all are aware, but that facility was scheduled to shut down in 2007, basically be a vacant building. We came in, me and Mr. Gunner did, and was able to salvage it from a company out of Canada that was going to shut it down and bring it kind of back to life, to say. Right now, we're a thriving company. We are selling all 48 states and about 5 foreign countries, continue to grow within the footprint we got. The only negative we got is we're in downtown Russellville. We'd rather be out in the industrial zone. Trust me, we've looked at that. That's about a $30 million investment to make that move. And the ROI on that just flat does not work for us. But we would love to consider that. It's just not an option for us at this time. As insurance companies get more and more strict, our insurance companies are getting very strict on the segregation of our facilities down there by the street and the traffic that goes through them. I'll be honest with you, we've had one that dropped us this year, been with us for 10 years, and they just said the risk is not worth the reward anymore. So we're searching for new insurance companies just to cover us down there because of the risk of the segregation of the facilities. So with that, we cross the street, our employees do numerous times. We have, and I don't know what number Dalton put on the letter, we have probably 35, 40 semi-trucks a week in and out of the facility. People really don't realize that little plant sits there and the volume that goes through it. But there's a lot of volume that goes through the facility. Unfortunately, the way it sets up, we have to drive forklifts up and down the street. I'm sure y'all have seen them. We don't like it. I know that nobody cares for it, but it's either that or it's close the doors, and that's our two options. So that's what we do. So we're just trying to increase safety for our employees, safety for the city, people, and just try to soften the blow on our company as a whole there. I'll be happy to answer any questions I can. I'm not a great public speaker, never have been, don't claim to be. But I will answer any questions that you may have, or concerns, or anything else.
Well, as you know, I worked there for years, right down the street, so I know it's definitely a problem. Typically speaking, I'm not a fan of shutting streets down ever, but what I would ask is, would y'all be amenable to like a swing arm that could close that section during business hours? Because I know y'all have
Yeah,
busier times.
Absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
if we can just do something during business hours,
Right.
we're all about leaving the parking open when you have downtown events and doing all that stuff. We want to be good city partners, always have been, always will be. We're just trying to find a way to make it a little safer for employees and appease the insurance companies, to be honest with you, so.
No, yeah, I saw it every day that I worked there, and people fly down that road, and we tried putting the stripes to help, and
The city was gracious and put a crosswalk in for us. We thought that would help. I think it just gave them a better target, that's all it did. So,
gave them a racing lane, that's right. So, but yeah, I think that I would be 100% amenable to a swing arm type of deal.
yeah,
that
we would work with the
closed during
city on
traffic.
however they wanted to do that and make that so it was presentable and worked well for everybody.
It's somebody who's also downtown and thankful for the historical aspect of our downtown. I really appreciate you guys staying downtown because I do think it adds to the historical aspect of our community and how something that has been for such a long time, but also is new and modern and reaching out into the broader world from right here. You know, I think that's great. And I, like Mr. Olson said, I'm amenable to a swing arm,
Okay.
Type of thing. Whatever we can do to be a good partner, but also closing streets is almost impossible. However, I don't think that that's too much of a issue, something like a swing arm situation.
Like I said, we're open to anything. We really are. And you're talking about the history. Most folks don't know that plant started in Dardanelle, Blue Valley Creamery, and it moved over here when the railroad tracks came in back in the 40s.
Yeah.
So,
You're the oldest manufacturer in the city of Russellville
as far
right
as
now?
I know, after
so-
the shoe plant closed, I think we're the oldest. The shoe plant was older than we were back then. So, yes, and that plant has been slotted to close twice. My father bought it the first time they shut it down and brought it back to life, and then he sold it. And 7 years later, I guess I got the wild idea I'd try it too, and it seems to have worked out all right for us. So,
Dalton, your future is ahead of you. You just prophesied there. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Well, and Dalton, for y'all don't know, Dalton's my son, obviously. He runs the company on a day-to-day basis now. I'm getting old and tired, so I'm trying not to work as much as I used to. So he does handle all the day-to-day stuff down there. And I come in a couple days a week just to aggravate him, so.
Mr. Keller,
Would the swing arm solution help you, would that satisfy the concerns of the insurance
I
company?
will have to ask.
Okay.
To be honest with you. We've got a meeting with our couple different insurance companies, I believe, next week. And then that's something I can absolutely run past them, so, and see if that would be sufficient. I would think as long as it controls traffic during business hours, I think that would be presentable to them, and they should agree to that.
okay. Any other questions? All right. So if you and your partners would maybe, after you visit with your insurance company, maybe move back, get back with us,
Sure.
and then the proper steps would be we would go through planning commission and go through all of that. They would
Okay.
look at that, and then they would bring it back to council for full approval. So I think.
You bet. Well, I really appreciate y'all consideration and time this evening.
Okay.
So,
All right. Thank you. Appreciate you guys for coming out. Thank you, gentlemen.
thank y'all.
All right. Now, we do also, in the mayor's report, we had a proposal by Youth Council member Ian Warwick for the city to place a plaque and other monument recognizing the Jackson House, which is also a Green Book site, which is much like the Lattimore Tourist Home. We are going to let him do this because he is going to be in Paris, France during the council meeting, and so he's going to do this real quick for us to kind of give you guys the idea of what he's wanting to propose. Please state your name, Mr. Warwick.
Ian Warnick. Okay. Thank you all for allowing me to present this proposal. I know you are all aware of the wonderful work that has been done with the Lattimore House. The Lattimore House is a historic site within our community. During segregation, it was listed in the Green Book, which was a travel guide for African American travelers to find safe lodging. The Friends of the Lattimore Tourist Home have done a wonderful job of not just highlighting this as a historic site, but preserving it and keeping it alive in the community. What most people don't know is that Russellville had a second Green Book listing from 1939 to 1947. This is unique, as other than the Lattimore House and this other listing, there were no other Green Book listings between Little Rock and Fort Smith. Up until now, the location of the second listing was unknown. In the Green Book, this listing simply said Mrs. M. Jackson, Herman Street. This is something that people interested in the preservation and the history of Russellville have been looking for quite some time. About 3 years ago, I began working with the Friends of the Lattimore Tourist Home, wanting to do historical research, when Betsy McGuire asked if I'd look into this mysterious listing. After looking into this for over the course of a couple of years, I found the location and have recently presented this to the Pope County Historical Association, and the work was highlighted in the Courier. After looking at property records, tax records, death certificates, and census records, though the house is no longer in the community, we know where the location was. The Mrs. M. Jackson house we have found was owned by Mrs. Mary Jackson and her daughter, who after marriage was known as Beulah Shantz. This property stayed within the family until at least the 1970s. Further, we have census records of Mrs. Beulah Shantz answering a census questionnaire at a time when 4 African-American lodgers from Mississippi and Arkansas were present. With this background, I bring to you today a proposal that we highlight the Jackson House location as a historic location within the city of Russellville, much like the Lattimore House and the James School Park, and even the skate park, which was once a park that was funded with a grant for segregated communities. This location should be highlighted as a significant historical landmark within our city. What I would like is for some type of marker to be present here. This could be something as simple as a sign on a traffic post, but something that would signify that this was a Green Book location. As a city, I think that it's important that we highlight the history of these prized locations. In the country, there were only about 9,500 listings, and only a third are still standing. Fortunately, we haven't lost the Lattimore House, but unfortunately, we have lost the Jackson House. However, we still have the memory of this site, and we don't want to lose that. Because it is important to remember that the Lattimore House and the Jackson House gave comfort and safety to the community, and Russellville to this day still provides a safe community. We should strive to maintain this legacy and highlight this history because that is who we are as Russellville. I have a couple of mock-ups of what this monument could look like and an example of signage from another state. Thank you for allowing me to make this proposal, and I thank you for your consideration.
Thank you so much for taking the effort to research that. So, all right.
Do you know like an approximate cost for one of these mock-ups?
No, and that's kind of why I wanted to ask. I don't know the process of getting like a price on that and how I would present that. Do you know?
Miss Jundall, if you please approach.
I have done a little bit of research on what a potential historical marker would cost, and it's less than $500 for the marker and a post, and then our crew would be able to install it at the location. It's about $477 plus shipping, so.
Is that something we would need an appropriation for?
Oh, yeah, we'd have to have an
or would
appropriation,
we
yeah.
Is there not maybe a line item and a miscellaneous line item? in the
I
budget?
don't know that, we'd have to look at that. We would explore that.
That's fine.
Yeah,
We can-
me and Ms. Baker could explore that, see if there's something, but I would definitely want to explore that more. So, but thank you, Ian, for coming out, and travel safe.
Thank you.
And we wish we were going with you. So, thank you. Thank you to all the Youth Council for all you've done, and we're looking forward to the presentation coming up. Moving on into the agenda, we will have a consideration of a resolution accepting a bid from McConnell Construction on behalf of Russellville Municipal Airport. Renovation of Hangar 1 West, that will, the what? This is going to be ready to go now, correct? Yes, it's ready to go. Everything's ready to go. So this will be coming up. We'll be moving on for this Hangar 1 reservation. And then item 1.1 is going to be the appropriation for this. Is this an 80-20 grant, if I remember it? 90-10, yeah. This is an 90-10 grant. So all of this is, you got item 1.1 is going to be the resolution and the appropriation. And then we will be going on to item 1 of unfinished old business is consideration of an ordinance amending the current zoning code for the city of Russellville. This is a third and final reading of the ordinance 2443. And then item 2 is consideration ordinance amending the current land subdivision and development code adopted by ordinance 2444, and this is also a third and final reading. Item 3 is a consideration of an ordinance approving a replat of parts of Lot 5 and Lot 6, 111, Block 111 in JL Shin Edition. And this is accepting the public right-of-ways contained within that replat. And this is also a third and final reading. This is at the address of 3001 East H, or 3301, I'm sorry. I have property at 3001 East H, so that's why I was like, okay. Item 4 is consideration of an ordinance vacating and abandoning a 10-foot of South Greenwich right-of-way adjacent to Lot 6 and 7, Block 9 of the Oakland Heights Edition. This is for other purpose submitted by Planning Commission, 816 South Greenwich, this is between 8th and 9th Street. This is going to be the second of 3 readings. So, heads up. Oh. Heads up, she's coming. Ms. Marchant?
Yes, we would ask if at all possible if this could be the second and final reading on this. The applicant did get done with their development a little quicker than they anticipated, and so they have requested a certificate of occupancy at this time. Fire Building and Safety has given them a temporary certificate of occupancy at this point, is my understanding. But if the council is amenable, I believe they would definitely want that full C of O, and we have to hold off on that until we get this finished, so.
Thank you, Ms. Marchant.
Yes.
Is that the one with the fence?
No.
No.
This is for a triplex development. That one was also on Greenwich, but yes,
Yes.
this is a little further south. Yes.
Then we'll be moving on to new business as a consideration. This is the Wisteria Court lien and to remove the unoccupied property. We have signed an agreement. Mr. Frank House has purchased the property from the Bryant family, and he has signed an agreement that you will have that agreement in your packet, and it will be on finance, correct, next week? Would it have to go through finance or not? It's kind of weird because there's some money involved there. He will have to be bringing a deposit into the, he actually came by today to bring the deposit by to me, and I told him it needed, with Mr. Smith's guidance, it does need to go through council, so he is ready to, he signed the agreement and he's ready to bring his deposit in, so it will be on finance next week. So, give me guidance on what we need to do here on this item 1, sir.
Basically, you're just going to enter into a rehabilitation agreement with Chuck Frankhouse for 204 Wisteria Lane, is that correct?
Yes.
So all the other stuff can be taken out, because we're not going to do anything without putting a lien on, because we're going to have a bond based on 10% of the cost,
So one's just going to change from removing dilapidated structure to entering in
A rehabilitation agreement with
rehab
Mr.
agreement.
Yes. And he has been given, he's been given a timeline and a schedule of what things how things should transpire, so. Okay.
all that other stuff will go and it can be done.
Okay, so does it need to go on to finance, or can it stay on as new business 1?
You can keep it on.
As new business
because
1?
he's giving us a deposit of 10% of the total cost in case he can't complete it, so we can tear it down.
Okay,
So
all right.
it's going to be money that we're going to hold, but it possibly will go back to him.
Okay, all right, no problem, I appreciate that. And then item 2 will be removed, that doesn't have to be, we could just remove that without any motion, correct? So that's removed. Does anyone else have anything they want to add for the good? Yeah, okay. Mr. George, did you have something you were wanting to add?
Yes, okay, so. The River Valley Arts Center, it has wanted to acquire some grant funding, and because of they're having trouble acquiring some grant funding because of their some parking spaces. They need some more parking spaces for people with disability. And they're right next to the youth center, right next to City Park. And we have spaces there. And I'm wondering if we can add some of our parking spaces and make them, would that affect your ability to receive grant funding, is my question. Yes.
My legal name is Michaela Cooper. I am Michaela Mosier, married. Yes, so specific grants require ADA compliance in order to be qualifying. When we have lots of other qualifying items on that grant, except for our ADA compliance of sidewalks. And so it's hindering our abilities to have opportunities for more money coming in, and we are struggling. Just to put it plainly, we are struggling.
I walked around the facility with Michaela today, and they definitely, the building is not ADA compliant. And then also, we talked about some options of giving, one of the things that I was concerned about is giving up city parking spaces to accessibility of the rear of a building, but for only certain times. But we worked out that we could possibly do that during certain times. You could put a sign saying handicap or accessible at this point in time, to where if on a Saturday or Sunday that a random person could park at the splash pad and not be in trouble, if that makes sense.
So where are the ADA parking spots that we're talking about?
They're wanting to do some behind, that are going to be in the city park parking lot behind the pottery shed. And then they want to potentially put in some sidewalks to the pottery shed that would make them accessible.
I did get the name of our sidewalk person that we got the quote from, if you wouldn't mind.
So
Also, I know that at Parks and Rec, we're about to pave some of those parking lots, I believe, and it's in the near future, on the short list, so.
You talk about the front one, maybe, that's kind of the roller coaster, or whatever you want to call that.
Yes, 100%.
So-
By the basketball goals and all that. I mean,
Yeah,
all
so-
that stuff's I know that's on the short list, so this will be good.
We own the building and rent it, correct?
We own the building and they lease it,
Okay.
yes.
So, are we able to make some improvements to the building that we own and are leasing as the,
The lease, well,
I don't know what the lease
at this point in time, I
states
can't
right
find
now.
a current lease agreement. At this point in time, I cannot find a current lease agreement. The last lease agreement that I have found was 1989, that I actually have in my hands, and that is expired. Mr. Smith is looking and may.
Just think that old one
Do y'all have one?
had a 25.
I don't know. I haven't been through all of our files.
Yeah, the old one had a 25-year option, and so like I say, we're trying to find. Yeah, yeah, we understand that, but they could have exercised the option, and
25 years was a 25-year option.
yeah, so yeah, I will get that to Mr. Smith. We kind of just jumped in on this afternoon, really looking at that. I will get that to Mr. Smith. So I believe the lease does state that the art center is responsible for all maintenance.
That's highly likely.
Hey, what was the quote you got for I'm sorry, I lost my voice. What was the quote you got for the sidewalk? Was it?
So the person that we had give us a quote, it was approximately $16,500 for all of our sidewalks to be redone.
Okay.
Robert Tullos.
Oh, Robert Tullis, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Tullis,
Yeah,
yes.
Tullis Concrete, yeah.
Yeah, he come in and took a look at everything that we wanted to get done. I'm currently also working with the Boy Scouts, or attempting to work with the Boy Scouts to build a deck, because we have a lot of uneven concrete where the pool deck was. And so we want to make that into a performance stage with ramps and stuff up to that as well. However, we can't do our grant work until we're completely ADA compliant for a lot of grants.
So, can we work towards doing what we can to help them achieve that? I know there are some things we obviously can't do, but we do own the property. There are some things we can do. Maybe we enter in a new agreement. You know, if we can't find the old agreement, I am not as fully aware of what we can do.
I
in this
think I would,
situation.
just opening this conversation tonight, I would feel more comfortable if we, when Mr. Smith looks at the legal agreements, and we can go from there and maybe continue this conversation. Mr. Keller, what are you thinking? His eyes are.
No, I mean, I want to work with the Art Center to make sure that we're, helping them as we can as their landlords, under the agreement that we have. If we can't find it and we need to execute something new, then we can look at potential things there that wouldn't then open us up to then having to do all the Schedule A's
Yes,
and
yeah.
all the different schedules for all the properties that we currently own and rent out. One thing I want to say, though, is that while you're going through and doing this for your ADA compliance, is just make sure that they're really ADA parking spots. Make sure, don't be like, well, we count it as an ADA parking spot, but it's over in Pottsville. That's where we've got
Yeah.
it.
And that's what she's trying to do.
And I
That's
get it,
what's
and I get it, and I understand.
Yeah.
Maybe there are things that we can do in-house. Maybe there are things that when we do maybe there's something that the city's not in the process of making money when we do our improvements and whatnot. Maybe we're able to do, some things at cost, or I don't know exactly how we would be able to do that with someone who is a tenant of ours in one of our buildings. I do want to help, but we can't do everything, So I'm saying.
Currently our full ADA compliant parking spots are on the front side of the building, and there's no access to the pottery shed at all for anybody who uses a wheelchair.
Yes. So they're having to,
That's the
we're, let me get with Mr. Smith, because we did actually find the 1989 contract today. I will get with him, let him look at that, and then we'll move forward and get, I do have your phone number
Yep.
still in my pocket. So, and so we will move forward with that, and thank you for coming
Nathan
out.
also has it for anybody.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, anyone else have anything? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, we will adjourn. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'll get that down to your office. I'll scan that. What I'll do is, one of them is a long, I think it may be a long one.